trust or the loyalty which was built with the customer. Because for the customer, it was easy for him to take, the supplier, it was easy for him to take that $75,000 and be happy about it. But he felt that Rizwan can get me that 25% extra, so why not give him that chance? So he gave me the consignment, the document. I did not have the warehouse, so I took the material in one of my friend's warehouse. We opened all the bundle, we hired some Pathans, we got the bundle cleaned and created that material into a perfectly good material, and we sold that material with 10% below the buying price. 15% went into the clearing, into the cleaning and the repacking and all that. So overall money which I made was 10% plus the 10% extra, about 20% money which I made in that one deal. I paid the money back to the supplier and he was very happy. And I thought to myself, I'm doing this indenting with 1 or 2%. If I do the trading, I can make 10, 15, 20%, so I should do the trading. And that's how I started approaching all my suppliers. They started then giving me material on consignment basis for $100,000, $200,000. I should get that material, start selling them and remitting the money, and this is how the Danube trading business was started, from indenting.
I understand. Fast forward to today. It's a 2 billion dirham business. What's the secret of building this business? Suddenly from 2 million to 2 billion, that's a 100,000% increase. How did you fast forward in 20 years?
I wouldn't say it was a very fast forward, because this from 2 million to 2 billion, it took me 20 years to, I would say not, if not 20 years, at least 18 years to come to that level. The couple of years went in, building the trust and getting that things on the moving. We started taking that calculative risk. The first year business I remember was 8 million dirhams. Then the second year was 14 million dirhams, and this is how we started expanding. And luckily for us, there was a boom which happened after 2000. Between 2002 to 2008, there was a huge boom in the market in the building material, and we were able to capitalize very strongly on that, because what we created, what was missing in this market was the building material traders. If you look at it, still they work on a very unprofessional way. When I say unprofessional way, if you go to the showroom, you will not see the display very good. The salesmen are not very well trained. The salesmen don't want to go out and sell the material. Now we started capitalizing on these basics which was required. If you go to any of the showrooms of the Danube, you will see the showroom, you can see a very good display. The salespeople are trained in the right way. The salespeople go out of the way to sell. We did a lot of marketing also, which is not heard in the building material company. Like you can see ads on the TV, on the billboards and all that. Started expanding into, first of all, only the UAE. We went into Abu Dhabi, Alain and Fujairah and Ras Al Khaimah. Then we started, the outside branch was the Oman, then Bahrain, Qatar, Saudi Arabia now, India operation. And gradually as the time went forward, we started taking different risks. Because the formula what was created, like for example today if I look at it, Lulu hypermarket, wherever he goes he is going to sell, because he has a beautiful formula under him where he has everything which you want to buy for your house. And same thing we created for our building material. We created the building material that whatever you require for the building material can be available in the one store, plus you are able to provide that the service, extra service and the extra value for money and the brand equity, so we were able to multiply very fast.
Brilliant. I think one of the things which fascinated me when I was thinking about the company was that building materials is a highly competitive environment, and it's a commoditized business. And your answer to that was amazing, that you actually built a brand. What is that? How did you create a brand out of something which was so commoditized?
I realized that if you want to, because Dubai is such a place where you have people from across all over the world come to shop for different material, and the reason is I was always thinking that how do the first name which comes for a buyer to buy when he thinks of building material, and that's what we were trying to achieve, and that is the reason we started advertising a little bit. And today we have created such a good brand in the building material that if I have to ask in the audience that, do you know the second and the third building material company which is there in Dubai, and probably you'll have to think 3 or 4 times as to which is the second building.
Can we ask that? Can anybody name the second and the third building materials company? Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? Are you in the industry?
Yeah.
Into advertising. Okay. Anybody else? Okay.
Rayami is into the furniture, interiors. Okay.
But it is actually a testimony to what Rizwan is saying, is that a couple of people, maybe 10 people out of 200, that's less about 5% of the people in this room, would be able to identify brand number 2 and probably even less would identify brand number 3. Is that how you differentiated yourself?
Absolutely, because I realized, you see, in the problem in the building material is we do not have that. It's not that my competitors do not realize that advertising is important, but the margin which we make in the building material is so small that we do not have the money to spend on advertisement. But I tasted the blood where I felt that advertising is definitely giving a lot of payback in terms of different customers from all over the world coming in, a brand equity which is being, and we kept on increasing our budget for the building material as the business grew. And today, luckily, I believe that we did the right thing.
Now, you said, and that's a really important word, and that was everybody has a formula. Do you think having a formula is the basis of success, and people, all the entrepreneurs in this room, need a formula?
Formula is very important. And then second thing is very important is the people who are working for you. I mean, it's important to get the right people, and I was very blessed that at all times we had the right people working for me. Some of the people are already here in this room. They have been here with me from the time we started the business. And that is very, very key, that you select the right people, you empower them after you have the formula, because you on your own can do to a certain number of things. But if you have the right people and you empower them, you can do wonders.
How do you build that loyalty? Because a lot of your people, I mean, your turnover is extremely small. People are very relaxed. When I went to see your office, people were just busy doing their thing. It was a very relaxed environment. How do you build that culture?
I think it's the direct touch which makes the difference. If you are a boss and you are directly connected with the people and you acknowledge them, okay, monetary is definitely important, but for everybody, I mean, for anybody who is working, monetary is important, but more than the monetary is the appreciation which you give them, the empowerment which you give them, and also allow the freedom to work on their own. Even if they make a mistake, you acknowledge and you let him go, and that is very important.
You have about 2,000 people, as I understand. So direct touch, you can probably just about manage 2,000. But I know you have ambitions to be 5 times larger than this. So when you have 10,000 people, what happens to your direct touch, and how will you change your behavior at that stage?
Okay, frankly speaking, at this moment also, I'm not in touch with 1,000 or 2,000 people. I'm in touch with probably 100 people. But the people who are working in our organization are given that sort of training from the beginning, or they have been also, they carry the company culture that this is how the company works, and direct human touch is very important. I mean,
so are you using modern technology? I interviewed a top CEO, and he said he communicates with his 9,000 staff using blogs on a daily basis.
No,
do you want to use blogs?
No, we don't do that.
All right.
No.
You don't tweet them and say,
hi
guys, how are you doing today?
We have a annual party which we do.
Okay.
Every year we have a party where we call all the staff, their families.
Right.
We directly connect with the families also. Even for the workers also, we have a blue collar party. So even their families, they come and they enjoy the party.
So what's your view on technology? Do you use a lot of technology, or are you technophobic?
I'm not so techno savvy, to be honest.
Okay.
But little bit I know I can send an email. I can read an email. I can go to the Facebook. I can send a BlackBerry message. To that extent, I know.
What are you scared of? What is your biggest fear in terms of your business?
If you ask me, the fear is, at this particular point of time, I would feel that we have invested most of the money in one basket. I wouldn't say all the money in one basket, which is in this region. And tomorrow, something happens to this region, again I have to start from beginning. So that is the fear.
So, but in terms of, I mean, you're an astute man, you've learned about these things in life. So how do you manage this risk? Because risk management for people away from home in this part of the world is a critical factor.
We are learning about it, and we are trying to, not saying then that we have put all the money in the basket. We are also trying to diversify into different things, trying to invest into India, in Europe, and other markets also. Okay.
So, are you diversifying in terms of your product line? Are you going into new things which perhaps is not your core business, but somehow it attaches to your business?
At the moment, we haven't thought about it. We are only into building material, but might think about going to some retail business.
I see.
We started something very small, which some of them might know. It's called a Chacha Chai. It's a tea joint, which was recently started before 6 months ago. So that was the only thing we have started.
That's sort of diversification, isn't it?
Small diversification.
Small diversification. Building materials to tea, chai. Okay. So, is it successful?
Yeah, it's doing very well. It started by one of our marketing manager, Mr. Chanchal, who is here.
Right.
And it just started that he came and he says, Rizwan, I'm doing the job, but I think it's more or less very matured, so I need something challenging. So we discussed what he wants to do, and he says, I want to start this. I said, okay, go ahead and start that. And that's how we started.
So if anybody from this audience wants to apply to a job with you, what do they need to do? And what are the qualities that you're looking for?
I think most important is when we look at the CV, I'm sure my general manager is here. The first thing which we look at is the stability as to how many years he has worked in a company. If we see a CV where he has jumped jobs in every 1 year or 2 years, that CV is straight away rejected, because there's no point in investing in a person who is not stable, because at the end of the day you want a person, 6 months to 1 year, definitely at that particular position it takes for him to really understand and learn the business. And after that he starts producing the results. So he has to work at least to 4 to 5 years minimum in a one company so that we can hire him.
Brilliant. I think we'll open up to the audience, and we'll have a few questions, and then we'll come back and talk about what Rizwan does from here to his 90th birthday. We're going to get to that in a second. So can we start with some questions? Any thoughts up to this point in time? Anybody?
My name is Naveen Kapoor, and I'm a friend of Rizwan. My question is, Rizwan bhai, I don't want to ask anything related to business, but when you were saying that you have expanded into other GCC countries, you did not mention Kuwait. And Kuwait is very special to you because you started from there. Do you have an office in Kuwait, or you don't have?
I'm happy you asked me this question, because this relates a lot to me. You see, Kuwait is the country where I started my business, or I learned my business from. My uncle is the one who is in Kuwait, and we learned the business from him. Now today, at this point of time, my business has gone almost 20 times more than what my uncle is doing. And tomorrow, if I have to open a branch in Kuwait, I'm sure I'm going to give him a very hard time as far as the competition is concerned. So I believe that I have the whole universe in front of me. Why should I compete with the same man who has taught me the business?
You can ask you that.
Myself is Arrange. I have a question for you. What would you advise to the young entrepreneurs from your experience?
The most important thing I would say that, like I said earlier, is focus on what you are planning to do. Stick to that one thing, and have that build the loyalty and the trust of your suppliers, of your buyers. Make sure your staff who are working around you are always happy, and that's one of the major key points I would say. Yeah.
So focus and persistence is what you're saying. Rizwan, what if people have taken the wrong turning? Because if you're going in the wrong direction, the harder you try, the further away you go from where you want to be. So persistence is great, but what are the touch points from your experience where people should stop and rethink, re-strategize, and then move forward from there? Because a lot of people get stuck in the wrong direction even though they are working hard and focused and everything else. What tends to happen there?
I think it's very difficult to answer this question. I don't know how to.
That's why that's why you're there and we are here, sir.
See, if you are doing, first of all, if you are decided to do any business, which you think you need to study the market before you get into the business. For sure, if you have got into a business which does not have a scope of doing a business and you're trying to break your head doing that business, then definitely you're into the wrong business. Secondly, the question is, if you still not survived, I'm not able to answer as to what you should do, my friend. I'm sorry about it.
Where do you see yourself, and what would be your advice to people who are already on a rough patch and getting onto a smooth patch now from here?
I think that was the same question. When 2008, the recession hit for no fault of ours. I mean, one stupid Lehman Brothers in USA does some mistake and we all were hit with a problem over here. And all of a sudden we found ourselves into a majority, most of the building material, we found into a majority problem, and the material we had in stocks was not being sold. The people who were wanting to pay us were not willing to pay us, and no liquidity, no cash, no money to pay the salaries, no money to pay to the banks. And a situation do come into your mind, but again, it's how you handle that situation and how you come out with it. I remember an incident where I had a banker who came to me, I wouldn't want to name the name of the bank, and he said, Rizwan, give me the money now because I don't think you can pay me the money at a later stage. So at that particular time, I removed the keys from my pocket and I gave it to him. I said, this is the company. If you think you can manage this company better than me, all yours. Because I have not done anything stupid in this company. I have imported according to the requirement of the market. I have sold material to the people who are paying me regularly. All of a sudden, if the market stops, it's not my fault. Give me some time and I'll pay you back the money. And he was very happy with that reply. Within 6 months, we were able to pay back all the money to all the bankers.
Rizwan, I heard that during the recession time, you didn't, take away a single job. I think, is that true? And if that is so, it's remarkable.
Yeah, it's true because 2008, when my first store in Ras Al Khaimah for the Bilmart store was opened, market was in a very bad shape. Like I said, nobody was paying, nobody was buying material. So at that time, there were two things to think. Either I close down whatever I had thought about it, or go ahead, take that bold decision of going ahead. And we had a meeting with all our management staff, and everybody said, let's go ahead and hopefully we are not doing anything wrong and it will survive, because that was the need of the market. The Bilmart, which you call it as a retail store for a building material, was required in this market. And against all the odds, we opened our first store, and to our surprise, it started doing well even in the recession, and accordingly we were able to open the second, third and fourth jobs. So when I was opening the stores and we were applying the visas in the Jabal Ali free zone, so the fellow who was receiving the visa application remarked to my person who was going, he says, something is wrong with your boss. I am getting every day people they have to leave the job, and here I am getting a new application every day, So we were very happy because we were able to.
My question is, are you content now? Do you still want more?
I don't think a businessman should ever be content. And the day he is content, the downfall will start,
So if you're not content, sir, what would make you closer to that level? Is it just about size, or is it something else you want to achieve?
At 40, I told her I'm going to do at 45. At 45, I told her I'm going to do at 50. I am going to be 50 after 2 months. And I'm sure I'm going to tell her at 55 I'm going to do. So as long as I think, because I enjoy working. I really love my job. Whatever I'm doing, I'm enjoying every moment of it. So why should I retire?
Now, throughout your life, you've been a workaholic. Every interview that I've ever seen about you, you work 15, 16, 18 hours a day. How did you build that work ethic, and is that part of the secret of your success? And is that what everybody else should be doing? Work-life balance, how does that fit in?
You can keep on working and you don't even feel that you're working. But if you don't enjoy something what you're doing, even that 3 or 4 hours, you would not want to do. So I was loving what I was doing and I was getting the success of what I was doing. So that helped me, motivated me to keep going further.
But at this level, when you were 18, now I'm 27, so I feel really I'm 9 years late to start now, because if I want to become someone like you. So what do you suggest the market conditions now, if you see, is there a saturation for industry? Is there a set level that, okay, this is a saturation level, now nobody can enter? Or if,
Yeah, go ahead.
or if we can create a niche in the market, and then if we have a good vision and we see, okay, this will happen, this is right. So can this happen now if we start? Because if you see in healthcare market or somewhere, anywhere, there are big players, as we discussed during the session. And if you want to start now, create a niche and become what you are today, or not you, or maybe, if I talk about being an entrepreneur.
I think Dubai is a land of opportunity. His Highness Sheikh Mohammed has given so much opportunity for everybody. And with this Expo 2020 coming, the market is going to go in a different direction altogether. So if you're thinking of starting any business, don't even think twice. If you know what you're doing, start immediately, because I'm sure you're going to survive and do well.